Okay, so this is something else that I had noticed when reading chapter 9, and this is when God is making the covenant to Noah and all of creation that he won't destroy the earth or destroy creation again by a flood. And I noticed how God repeats himself a lot. I used to get annoyed by it when I used to read the Bible because I didn't understand why he did that. You'll notice that when Jesus is talking, he repeats himself a lot too. Like they say the same exact thing like 3 or 4 more times. So I'm gonna just read it and then just share what I jotted down. Maybe if y'all have any special experiences or understanding of why God may do that, y'all can go ahead and comment that. Okay, so this is Genesis 9, verse 8 through, let's do 17. And God spake unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. He's very descriptive. It's like, okay, Lord, we get it. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you, for perpetual generations. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you, and every living creature of all flesh. And the water shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, This is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth. So he literally said the same thing like 4 times. So what I gathered from it, here I put in my notes, I put God makes a covenant and promise to all of humanity and creation that he will never again destroy the earth and all of creation via flood, after already deciding to do so in his heart prior to this chapter, because he did. He said that in his heart that he would never do it, so I guess he's just finalizing that statement now. So the second point, it says God also is very formal in initiating covenants, considering how he repeats himself. There seems to be a formal initiation, a statement, then a reassurance of the statement or covenant that finalizes and seals it. It shows and demonstrates his faithfulness to the other party. I believe that because he doesn't do anything in vain. I think there's a reason why you'll find in several different chapters that God is always repeating himself. So as I really just pay close attention to it, it looks like in the beginning he just kind of initiates it. Like, for example, verse 9, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. Okay, so that verses 9 and 10 just kind of sounds like a formal presentation. So he hasn't really described what it is just yet, but it's just kind of getting everybody's attention. I could see God like standing in front of a group of people, and he just kind of stands up to make this presentation. So I guess that's just kind of like the initiation part. So verse 11, And I will establish my covenant with you. Okay, so that's what he just said. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. You know what I just thought about? He's in court saying this. It's very formal the way he's talking. Like I guess like when you read this, you would probably think that he's just talking directly to Noah. He could have been, but the way that God is speaking is so formal to the point where it almost sounds like a court document. Like the way he proposes it. Behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and also with all creation. So he's very descriptive. Yeah, that kind of sounds like my prayers a little bit. You know how I get very detailed and just very descriptive of what I'm talking about. That's why I said it looks like, I know for a fact now, when God makes certain covenants or promises to us, it is documented in heaven. I could definitely see him. This has to be established in the courtroom, in the court of heaven, because that's just the way he's talking. So he kind of like presents it first, presents the proposal or whatever. First, he states who it's to, who the covenant is to. Okay, it's to all of man's seed, all of your seed, which is all of humanity basically, and all the animals, so pretty much all of creation. So that's the formal initiation or proposal of the covenant. This is the actual covenant itself, and he repeats himself, and I will establish my covenant. So it's very, very formal, kind of like how a judge would let you know your sentencing or what he's going to have you go, whether you're going to do, what do they call it? I've never been in court really, except for once, because I beat up this girl. But I don't know, like, what do they call it? When you go like pick up trash and stuff in the city, what is that called? I don't even know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But that's what it sounds like. It sounds like God is like he's in a courtroom and he's a judge, and he's just kind of reinstating what the covenant is and who it's towards. And it's just very, very formal, because there's no other reason why he would just keep repeating himself like that. Okay, so that's the covenant. The covenant is, I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood. Neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. Okay, so that's the promise. No more floods to destroy all of creation. You know what? I just got this in my spirit reading this. What he did, because if you read, I don't know if it's in chapter 9 or chapter 8, but it was before chapter 9. Not chapter 9, I mean chapter 8 or chapter 7. Before he decided to make this covenant, he was already thinking this in his heart. Let me see if I can find this scripture. Oh no, it was chapter 8. It's right here. Chapter 8, verse 20 and 21. It says, and Noah builded an altar unto the Lord. This is after he came out the ark. And took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor. And the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake. For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more every living thing as I have done. Yeah, so it sounds like, oh, this is so beautiful. Okay, so before God actually establishes the covenant and like makes it a spoken word, I think because he is a person, so I think he just kind of decides to do these things in his heart first. But in order to make it legal, I'll say, in order to make it, line up with his word and his spiritual principles, he has to it has to go through the court of heaven, if that makes sense. So he does everything formally. Okay, so that would make sense because he said it in his heart first. And then you see in chapter 9 where he makes the covenant. Oh, isn't that something? So he really is a person. A lot of Christians don't see God as an actual person with his own personality. So yeah, he just does. He has a certain way about doing things. So it was in his heart to do so. So I think in order to just really make it legal, so it could apply to just nature as a whole, he has to go through the court of heaven and approach it in a formal manner. So that's what he did here. That's why it sounds like he keeps repeating himself, but he's really not repeating himself. I think he kind of proposes it in a certain way. It's a very formal manner how he proposes it. And then how did I write? Formal initiation. Then he makes the statement of what the covenant actually is. And then there's a reassurance of the statement or the covenant that finalizes and seals it. Yeah, so that's what he did. Isn't that amazing? I did not see that before reading this. That's what he did. He just pretty much issued it through a heavenly court. Okay, and in verse 12, and God said, this is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you. Okay, so he already initiated and proposed a formal covenant towards what the covenant is. Now he's talking about the token of the covenant, which is the sign or remembrance of what the covenant is. Every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. So this is for animals and human life. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. So there again, he's repeating himself. that's not, I wouldn't say confirmation. That's more like reassurance. Like he's really trying to prove his faithfulness to the covenant that he's making. So he's stretching it too. So not only is he reassuring us, he's making the promise so strong that he's even giving us a sign so we can remember it, and pretty much just hold him to his word. That just shows God's character. He's a very faithful and loyal person. And it shall come to pass when I bring a cloud over the earth that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. So this is how I will prove myself to you and how you guys will know that I mean what I say. And you can trust me. The bow shall be seen in the cloud, which is a rainbow, by the way. And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. So once again, he's repeating that. He really just wants to get it embedded in us. I promise this, I promise this, I promise this, and the water shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. I can just picture him like making a solemn oath and he's just standing with his hand over his chest because he just keeps repeating himself. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and he's so sweet, and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, this is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh. So yeah, the ending would be just him finalizing everything he just said. I promise to do so. Hold me by my word. I hold myself to my word. That's basically what he's saying. I hold myself to my word. He's swearing this to us, basically. It's a sworn covenant and a sworn promise. He has his hand over his chest. He's already issued it through the court of heaven. It is, that's it. Okay, it's official. That's so nice. I never saw that in there before. So that's what he did. And that's so sweet, y'all. That's the kind of God that we have. Look how far he goes just to like prove stuff to us. He gives us signs and confirmations and reassurance all the time, just to prove to us that he is faithful, he is loyal, he's a good judge of character, and he has a good character himself, and he just really wants us to trust him. And they may or may not have had doubt, towards what he was saying. I think it was just more so about him, just how he is. He loves to prove himself to us. And just how he's constantly confirming and repeating himself and just reassuring the same thing over and over again. He just really wants you to know that you know that you know. This is my word. I've sworn myself to this. I hold myself to my own word, and I want you to do the same. And this is proof that I will remember it and I will keep it. The rainbow, basically. You'll see that he did that with Abraham, too, when he was... Because I promise you, like, I used to get annoyed. I was like, why does he repeat himself? Like, okay, like, you said it one time, but I see now that when God repeats something, most likely he's making a formal agreement, or he's making it a law in the court of heaven. There's a certain way you have to go about saying things and kind of issuing things in the court of heaven. So I think that's why he just talks like that. So now he can't take it back. Or I could be wrong. But right now, I think that's what it means. It's already spiritual law, so he can't really take it back. He's promised it, so I don't think he would go back on it. I mean, the earth is going to be destroyed again, just not by water. He said so. He promised it. So that's sweet. I just learned that as well. So we learned that one together. He just gave that to me. So y'all can jot that down. Just another attribute of God's character that we can jot down. Just to have faith towards him and what he does and stuff. So